Entering the atmosphere in T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Omega Metroid podcast from OmegaMetroid.com. My name is Andy Spiteri, joined by Doom Crossing. What's up, Doom? How are you?
Pretty good. Rocking my ugly Metroid sweater today. The holidays are coming up on us very quickly. Got a much needed day off work to recharge my batteries before I have to be up at 5 a.m. tomorrow. And we're just kind of chilling, reconnecting with friends and family before the big day. And just kind of in a relaxing mode. I will say though, so ever since Prime 4 came out, I've been like revisiting a lot of the Prime 4 reactions, just because, it makes me feel all warm and fuzzy inside. Today I decided to visit the Metroid Dread reactions though, out of nowhere, and man, my God, I know it's already been 3 years. I know we've beaten this game countless times. We practically have, the game's map memorized, but God, I still can't believe that game is real. What an incredible time it is to be a Metroid fan.
I'm actually not like the biggest fan of reaction videos. I don't know. There's something about them that like almost like a little bit cheesy, but I will say watching some of the Metroid Dread stuff is still pretty cool. And actually, I do have to admit, I watched the reaction to the Canadian Winter Olympic overtime golden goal in 2010. That's one that I still go back to a lot. But it's pretty cool. I've been playing a lot of Metroid titles lately. Actually, like gearing up for a project that we got. I've run through the first three Metroid. So I've run through Nestroid. I've run through Samus Returns. I've run through Super Metroid. I fired up a little bit of Metroid Prime on hard mode the other night just cause. Did a little AM2R run. I was playing some Rogue Dawn just now. So yeah, I've kind of been in the Metroid spirit a little bit here and getting my hands on a bunch of different games in anticipation for some cool stuff that we got next year.
Yeah, just a little Metroid sampler platter action going on. Yeah. I'll always love to see it. I know. I did a run of Super myself recently. First time in about I want to say about a year or two now.
Nice.
So that was really fun to revisit that. Did some more Metroid Dread mode specifically, also in relation to this elusive project that Andy mentioned. So more info on that, hopefully soonish, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. So we got kind of a nice and breezy episode to close off. Well, not close off the year, actually. That's inaccurate because we do have another episode coming out before the year's end, but we're taking next week off for the holidays. So we kind of wanted just to, just to do a nice little cozy, relaxing Q&A. So we got some questions. It looks like they kind of range from serious to silly, which is always like exactly what I like to see on a Q&A episode. And we should also probably spend a little bit of time talking about the Game Awards. And there was I don't know if you saw this, Doom. There's like a big Switch. Apparently, there's like a big Switch 2 leak again. I should probably have pulled up the details for this, but there's a video game peripheral company whose name I am Googling right now to try and find.
D-Brand,
yes. Now they have apparently released like the casing for the Switch 2, which makes it look like it's like identical to the Switch, which actually is like completely like what I was expecting anyways. We've been talking about this for forever. My thought was like I was expecting the Switch 2 to be like the 3DS to the Switch's DS, and I think that makes sense. I'm not ready to like fully believe anything until Nintendo says it. However, I think that makes sense based on that leak that we saw. Like I could definitely see the new Switch just being a more powerful Switch. So that's going on in the world right now. A lot of people are losing their minds speculating it over it. I think I'm at the point here, Doom, where I'm just like, whatever. Like we've got this reveal coming in, less than 90 days. I'm just gonna sit tight. I'm gonna relax. I'm just gonna wait for Nintendo to tell me so that we can just definitively say this is what the Switch 2 is.
I'm pretty much in the exact same spot right now. I do want to point out, though, I do have a little bit more to say about that, but this actually is going to be the last episode of the year, because next week we're taking the week off, for the holiday season, some much needed family time. But since we moved our release dates to Wednesdays,
Oh, you're right.
our episode after is
right.
actually coming out on January 1st, 2024, which, if anything, I feel like our January 1st episode is the perfect episode to start the year off of.
Well, actually, that's true, because we're going to be reflecting on the year that we had, and then projecting for the year up front. So you're 100% right. We recorded in 2024, but we'll be coming to you from the future in 2025.
Yeah, you guys will be doing a little bit of time travel through that episode. Maybe relevant to Metroid Prime 4. Ooh, but yeah. So I'm pretty much in the same boat as you when it comes to the Switch 2 leaks. It's mostly, and especially because I feel like most of it is pretty minor stuff. It's really all of these leaks are just from third-party peripheral manufacturers that just kind of reveal the design of the Switch, which again we kind of already figured it was going to be, a similar design to what our current Switch or the Switch OLED looks like. So I honestly don't really think it's, that major. It's not like going from the Wii U to the Switch where we have no idea what it's going to look like. We had a pretty good idea that this is what it's going to be. And it's like, yeah, that sure looks like the Nintendo Switch family of systems. All right. So, and then like you said, our official reveal is at the absolute latest, March 31st, 2025. So it's really not that far up ahead. It'll be here before we know it. So
yeah,
unless there's like an astronomical leak or something that has, something that we really weren't expecting, that there's some discussion to be had there, I'm just kind of chilling until the official announcement.
I do have to say, because you brought this up, and you're totally right. Like this isn't like the same as, it doesn't have that mystique or magicalness as like what is the NX. Like that was just a great time. I mean, it was the worst of times and the best of times for a Nintendo fan.
Say that's not the word I would use.
Well, you're living in like this awful era, right? Where like the Wii U is reign supreme. There are literally no games that have come out for like a year on the Wii U, and the Switch is still a while away. But there really was kind of a cool mystique about like what is the NX and like what is this revolutionary, console going to be. And speaking of revolution, like the same thing back in the Wii days, like it is, I mean, it's definitely cool to like know, like going from the DS to the 3DS or the Switch to the Switch 2. It's good to know kind of like what you can expect, because it helps temper your expectations a little bit. But there is something to be said about that period in time where your imagination was just completely running wild. And I would say for in a lot of ways, I think the Switch really delivered on that, mystique and build up and everything like that. And clearly it did, because I mean it's Nintendo's most successful console ever. So yeah, it is I don't know, not sad that it's the speculation's coming to an end, because I don't feel like the speculation has been as fun as the NX, but it is kind of nice too to know that, like, at least for this one, like, what you're more or less going to get, and we are going to get it soon. So, yeah, that's, that's coming up like early 2025. It would be actually ideal is if in mid-February they announced a direct, and, yeah, that'd be cool.
I think that is how it's going to, I think that our Switch 2 reveal is going to happen during our typical February direct slot. That's my, well, we'll have a Samus's percentage later, but,
yes.
Well, that'll be very high on my percentage meter.
Yeah, that would be really great if it did, to be honest, because we've got some plans that if we could combine them, that would be really cool. So Nintendo, work with us.
That'd be an absolute blast. Honestly, I would love to, if I'm not at work, I would love to do just kind of like a live reaction call with the whole gang, and just maybe have some of our Discord folks jump in and chat. We can all do a live reaction together. I'd be super down.
Yeah, that'd be really fun. So fingers crossed. But you know what? If Nintendo was like, I don't want to wait till February and we're gonna show this thing off in January, hey, I'd be fine with that too. Yeah. 2025 brings a whole new year of sick days, flex days, vacation days. I'm all for it. So yeah. Now, before we get to the questions this week, we should note that probably to no one's surprise, Metroid Prime 4 did not win the prestigious most anticipated game award at the Game Awards. This I guess it was like a week ago now, this past Thursday, which is actually like totally fine. I think that it was there at all, like just kind of speaks to how much people are looking forward to this game. I mean, your mileage is going to vary on the merit of a lot of those category, particularly a category like that. But hey, I mean, I think that's pretty cool, and there's no shame in losing to Grand Theft Auto 6, which is probably going to sell like a bazillion copies. So yeah, that was pretty cool to see that Metroid Prime 4 Beyond was there. And I guess, Doom, that we should just, like I said, it's going to be a light and breezy show here. We should just talk about the Game Awards in general. Now, I can't say, I know that you didn't watch it, and I can't say that I watched it either. This is the first year in many, many years where I just didn't watch it. And I think that was actually totally okay. Like, I kind of just, like, read a recap, and then I watched the trailers I wanted to, and I was like, okay, that's cool. I've heard that it was a better show than years prior, although I will say, like, I think the Game Awards has been slowly improving year by year. Certainly not a perfect show. Even like this year, some of the highlights and stuff that I saw, there's still some of those ugly warts that really just kind of, at least in my opinion, give the Game Awards as they're currently stated like a big legitimacy problem. And I don't think those are going to go away. But yeah, you know, the awards, they seemed okay. There was a few cool announcements. I will say probably the low point for me, though, I was watching some of the reveals. And you ever been scrolling on Facebook, Doom, where they have like that like thing, the AI by Meta, and it's like this stupid cat with sunglasses and a spaceship or whatever. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I have not used Facebook in ages. My life has only improved since I left Facebook, if I'm being completely honest.
Well, there you go. That's probably for the best. Facebook is pretty much just my primarily, like, this is for my family. This is what I'm doing.
That's fair.
But they have like this new thing now where it's like, you can ask Meta AI to create whatever you want. And like the poster thing for this is always this garbage looking cat with sunglasses and a spaceship. And I swear to God, this same cat was in a game that was at a world premiere at the Game Awards. And it's an AI game.
World
and I was
premiere.
just like, ugh, yuck. Like really just like a tone deaf kind of thing to have at the Game Awards. But I digress. There was some cool stuff that was shown off this year. Did you have a chance to check out anything, dude?
Yeah, so like you said, I was at work when the Game Awards were premiere. I usually like to watch them, even if I'm not expecting much. You know, it can be like a fun event to watch with, with friends, just kind of have a few drinks, eat some food, and just gonna kind of trash talk, if anything. But yeah, from what I've heard, it sounds like it was a fairly decent show. Mm-hmm. So yeah, sounds like Jeff is really listening to criticism and taking it seriously, and we're getting slight marginal improvements each year, which I think is a good thing, if anything. I like to reward good behavior personally. As for games, Turok Origins definitely the big one for me. And by Saber Interactive too. That's awesome. I think they're a terrific choice to develop a Turok game. So very excited to see that. It's definitely going to be a while to see that as it's one of those classic CGI trailers. So definitely going to be a few years before we see that again, but I'm just happy that it exists. I own Okami. I haven't played it yet. Super awesome that a sequel for that got announced too. Yes. So I know, Andy, that was probably one of your big highlights. I know you're a huge Okami fan, so.
Yeah, that was probably the highlight of the show, to be honest. And you're right. Like, you know what? I really do get tired of the Game Awards when they show off, like, all of these like CG trailers and like there's no release date, no nothing. It is a little bit tiresome because it's like, this is just stuff. Like it doesn't feel tangible or real. But sometimes it is just nice to know that something is being worked on. Not unlike Metroid Prime 4. And Okami is one of those things because I mean, it's been almost 20 years since the first game came out. We did have a sequel on the DS, which is often slept on. So I'm not going to say that it's never got a sequel. And Okamiden is a really great DS game, by the way. But yeah, it's definitely been a long time since a new Okami has come out. And I don't know why, because like the game is just like, it's fantastic. It's a great Zelda-like game. It's got like every ingredient there if you're a Zelda fan, for you to enjoy. So I quite like Okami. I was really pumped about that. I was doing the old fist pumping and cheering and stuff like that.
Yeah, that was awesome. And then, admittedly, I've never played a Ninja Gaiden before, but I think it's pretty cool that they're reviving
Yeah.
not only Ninja Gaiden, but like retro 2D Ninja Gaiden too. Like that's something we haven't seen in literal decades. And so, yeah, I thought that was a not like a jump out of my chair announcement, but I'm like, oh, that's really cool. I'm glad they're doing that.
I kind of felt the same. Like, I've played Ninja Gaiden, and it's not really for me. It's just like, it's just a brutal game, and not brutal in terms of it sucks. Brutal in terms of like you are going to be punished. It's probably like I can't even call it like the Dark Souls, because I think Dark Souls is easier than Ninja Gaiden was. But it's a tough game, and yeah, I don't know if it was ever for me. I also want to shout out actually. I wasn't personally all that jazzed about it because it's not really my style of game. But a new Onimusha game was announced, which is pretty cool. Has been again, I want to say like maybe like
Couple
20
decades.
years, yeah, since like I remember the last Onimusha coming out for PS2, like when I was a kid. I don't think I've kept up. I mean, I definitely am not a fan of the series, so I might be missing some releases, but I don't think there's been any new stuff coming out in a long time. So I was excited for fans of that too.
Yeah, I heard people talking about it online. I think it's been like a couple of decades now.
Yeah.
Which again, I've never, like you, never played a game before, but like I know that game has like a very tight knit community and diehard fan base. So
Yeah.
happy to see a starving fan base get fed always.
Now, the one game that actually did catch my eye and probably caught a lot of our eyes, there was a new Pac-Man Metroidvania game announced. Did you happen to watch the trailer for this?
I haven't seen the trailer yet. I only saw a few screenshots. And I was super confused because I was looking up Pac-Man Metroidvania at the Game Awards, and I was like, where's the Pac-Man game? I can't find anything. No, it's a brand new game called Shadow Labyrinth where you play as a character and you have like a Pac-Man companion, and I guess it's like based off the
It's based
that
off the new
Amazon
Secret
Prime
Level
TV show.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I still haven't watched the trailer. It looks really weird, but I also kind of like that it looks really weird. I don't know. I still need
kinda
to see the
dig it.
trailer, so maybe I'll be off put once I see the trailer, but just from the screenshots, I'm like, I don't know. I'm vibing with this right now.
Yeah, I like kind of dig it. I'm looking at some screenshots right now. It looks pretty. I mean, it doesn't look like your daddy's Pac-Man, that's for sure. Like it looks kind of cool. I think I'll try anything once. So I like new ideas for classic series. You know what? I can't help thinking about now whenever I hear Pac-Man. Are you a Black Mirror fan, Doom?
I've never watched it.
Oh, you definitely should actually. Although maybe you shouldn't, because it's kind of a creepy, scary show because too much of it is like too plausible. You know what I mean? But there is a particular. It's like a movie actually. It's called Bandersnatch, and it's one of those ones where you watch it on Netflix, but you like input your decisions. It's like a pick your own adventure movie, and there's this really cool rant. I don't want to spoil it, but like this guy goes on a rant about Pac-Man, and it's set to Tangerine Dream. It's very surreal, and he's talking about Pac-Man being program and control man. It's very cool, and I would like to see like a cyberpunk Pac-Man game if they're going to be doing weird Pac-Man stuff, just kind of based on that vibe. I don't know who's with me, but I think that'd be sweet.
Indy, if you're a Tangerine Dream fan, you should play GTA 5. They do like a third of the soundtrack in that game. Just throwing that out there.
We were talking about this on the Zeltcast this week. I do think I'm going to play some Grand Theft Auto games because I've still never played any. I think I'm going to play Vice City. I don't know. Should I skip San Andreas?
Oh, you should not skip San Andreas.
No?
You
Okay.
would, and you would let San Andreas is basically like, it's basically like a throwback to like 90s hip hop culture.
Okay, well I shouldn't skip it at all.
Deep LA. You definitely need to play San Andreas. That's right up your alley.
What's 4 about? So there's because I don't think I'm gonna play GTA 3, but there's Vice City, San Andreas.
That's fair.
There's
yeah.
4, and then there's
Yeah.
like I think I would play maybe the first 2 or like San Andreas and Vice City, and then just 5. I don't know.
Yeah. Vice City in particular can be a little bit brutal. So if you do decide you just kind of want to move on to San Andreas, totally fair. I don't think you need to complete Vice City by any means. But yeah, San Andreas up until 5 was definitely probably my favorite one. Although I'm biased because both that and GTA 5 take place in California, so a little biased on my part. 4 takes place in New York, Liberty City as it's called in the universe. And that takes place technically not modern day anymore, but at the time it was modern day, like 2007, 2008.
Right.
But yeah, 4 is also a bit different than at least the GTA games so far, because a lot of the other ones, very kind of a mix of like silly hijinks and kind of cartoonishness. 4, like you still have a little bit about that, but the main story is like very serious, well done. It genuinely, like, 4 I think is the best story in the series. It has some absolutely phenomenal character writing, but you don't get a lot of like the more cartoonish outlandish characters like you would in some of the other games.
Okay. Well, hey, I'll put on my Christmas wish list. I'll tell you what, I've other than playing some Metroid games, I've been in a heck of a drought for playing games right now, and I don't know why. I finished Echoes of Wisdom, and I'm just kind of I think I'm just waiting for the Switch too. So yeah, well, hopefully that's coming soon. All right, well, let's get into, unless you have any final thoughts about the Game Awards that we want to that we just want to sign off on. Astro Bot won Game of the Year, as I think a lot of people thought it would. It's fine.
I'm happy Astrobot won, man. It's good to see. I mean, Sony's been, on the chopping block with, all, Japan studio and all this stuff. And so I'm hoping that Astrobot is a sign that's like, hey, don't get me wrong. I love, I love my cinematic adventures about a middle-aged dad trying to find himself. But, we don't need just that. We can have, some good cartoony platformers too. And I'm hoping, maybe a bit too optimistically, I'm hoping that maybe the success of Astrobot leads to a little bit more of that.
Yeah. I feel like I saw a lot of people kind of talking about Astrobot. It's like, oh, like, why can't like small little platform games like take home big awards? And I don't know. I guess I never felt like they couldn't. Like, it's not like the thing is that Nintendo is primarily the only people that really make those games, for the most part. And like when they do make them, like, I mean, Mario Odyssey was nominated for Game of the Year. I can't really think of a platformer like that they've made since. So, but nevertheless, I mean, it was cool to see Astrobot kind of, picking up some acclaim there. I want to check it out. It looks like a pretty fun game. So, yeah, I'm hoping. There's one other thing. Hold on. There's one other thing that we got to talk about, and that's the Naughty Dog space game. I think that sounds kind of cool. Like, I can't remember what it's called, but like, I'm into it.
Yeah, I was about to say, but it's like, nope, that title's escaping my mind as well. Honestly, I'm just glad that it's not another Last of Us game, and I say that as someone who enjoys The Last of Us. But I'm glad to see them taking on something brand new. Again, probably something we're not going to hear for at least a couple more years, if not longer. But yeah, it looks interesting, looks unique. Can't wait to see more of it. What I was going to say before though is I hope that I hope Sony does port Astrobot to PC eventually, because otherwise I will have to buy a PS5 to play it.
I think my PS5 time is coming up here pretty quick, to be honest. My ex, you want to hear a side story, everybody? You want to hear a side story? I've been trying to watch Netflix on my PlayStation, and my PlayStation controller died the other day, and I was like, okay, whatever. So I plug it in, recharge it. This thing will not pair back up with the PlayStation at all, like at all. So I'm sure it's like an easy enough fix, but I was just like, ugh. So I turned on my Xbox One, which, even though they came out at the same time as a PlayStation 4, just seems like absolutely ancient. It feels like I'm turning on my Xbox 360. So I'm trying to watch it on. Sam and I are watching Blue Eyed Samurai, which whips, by the way. It's an awesome show. And so we're watching it, and like we're 15 minutes into the episode, and Netflix keeps on saying like, oh, we need to update restart because the Xbox isn't working, something like that. So I think it's time that these two consoles might be put out to pasture pretty quickly. Time for an upgrade, I think. That being said, we did ask everybody for some questions for this week, and we got a bunch of questions, primarily over on Blue Sky, which is what we asked people for. If you haven't made the switch yet over to Blue Sky, that's totally fine. But when you're ready, we're over there. That's where we're doing all of our posting now. So come and give us a follow, check us out, and we even have like a starter list actually of some really cool Metroid content creators that you can follow over there if you're new to Blue Sky, so you can kind of get right into the action and get your timeline the way that you like it. But we did ask for questions over there, and we did ask for some questions over on Discord as well. And I think without further ado, it is time to start answering some of these questions, Doom.
Yeah, I think we've been stalling for long enough. It's time to get to the meat and potatoes of this show.
All right, then let's absolutely get started. And I'm just going to start right from the very top, and we'll go down. This question is from our pal Remy. Do y'all think there will be any side quest missions in Metroid Prime 4? Is that something you'd like? I personally wouldn't mind there being some actual bounty hunting on the side in exchange for small upgrades like health and missiles. You're speaking my language, brother. Man, I was begging for that in Metroid Dread, actually. I think that'd be really awesome. I really would like to incorporate optional content, and I really would like to incorporate bounty hunting. And I think exchanging those bounties for upgrades, like, yeah, that sounds awesome. Or, even a couple weeks ago, we were talking in Discord about currency and stuff like that. I guess I have to admit, this wouldn't be the worst way to implement currency in the Metroid universe. I don't know that I love, like, maybe I could see it if you hunt a bounty, you get like 500 credits for it. You could upgrade your missiles to be like, I don't know, like ice missiles, or you know what I mean, something like that, or like seeker missiles or something. I don't know how I feel about not having those upgrades available in the actual game, but I'm sure that we could sort that out. Yes, I would love to have optional like bosses. I'd love to have bounty hunting. I think that sounds sweet.
Yeah, I almost said, like, on the surface, I'm not really a fan of currency being implemented in a Metroid game where you get like XP or currency or whatever where you have to grind enemies. Not really. I don't really want that in my Metroid game. That's like the opposite of fun to me in a Metroid game specifically. But I'm not opposed to like an optional side quest where you get like a thing, a MacGuffin, if you will, and then you use that thing or MacGuffin, that resource, to then, unlock one new tier of your ability. I think that I would be super down for if it's like something that you actively find and explore on the map. Because I mean that's what I'm playing Metroid for, doing puzzles, exploring, finding cool stuff.
Yeah, I feel like let's just say that it's currency instead of a MacGuffin, because I was on the same page. I was like, let's get, like, I think I called it a fuel cell or something like that. Like, you beat a bounty, you get a fuel cell, you can upgrade your stuff. I think that currency in the way that this is laid out is basically the same thing, because I do not think that you should be able to find this currency anywhere else other than bounty hunts. So, like, basically it's like the same thing as getting an item, and then you can only exchange that currency for upgrades. So, like, basically it's the same thing as trading that MacGuffin for an upgrade. So I think we're on the same page here. I think that I think that this is probably the way to go if you're going to do that. I would really love side content, added to Metroid. I think that gives the series legs, it gives the game legs, and specifically, like, it's an easy way to do, like, extra content or DLC content or something like that. Say, like, hey, there's like 8 new bounties for you to go hunt, and maybe they could add them to the map. Maybe it's just its own thing. Maybe there's a small little mini map. I don't know, but like I would love that if, like, you could have that ability to come back and keep on exploring the game a little bit more. I think that'd be fantastic. I'm surprised I haven't done it already, to be honest.
Yeah, especially after like Prince of Persia, which I think did a really good job with its side content.
Yeah, you know what? I was actually just looking at that. Maybe that's my answer. I haven't played the DLC for The Lost Crown yet. Maybe that's what I got to go do. I actually wouldn't even mind just playing that game again, to be honest. That's a game I would have picked for Game of the Year, if I'm being truthful.
Oh, absolutely. I think that's definitely my Game of the Year choice this year.
I think so, yeah. I think so. I can't say I played a lot of new games this year, but that was the best one that I played. And I played a new Zelda game, so I mean, that's saying something. All right. Raven of the Flock 09 asks, we've been waiting for your take on theories for Metroid 6. Care to give us a trailer for your thoughts? So I do want to say, Raven of the Flock, we do have an episode about some story ideas for Metroid 6. I can't remember where it is, but it's if you go to omegametroid.com and search Metroid 6, you'll find it. Now that being said, I've regurgitated this on the show before, but I had a thought for what you could be doing in Metroid 6. I know Dak hated it, but he hates everything, so I'll tell it to you, Doom, and you can tell me what you think. You might remember this, actually. I thought it'd be kind of cool if like you went the Metal Gear Solid 2 route with Metroid 6, play as Samus for the first little bit, utilize the Metroid abilities, and then introduce like a new play. Maybe even switch it up, actually. Maybe you're playing as your Raiden, let's just call her a new protagonist, and you're tasked with hunting down Samus because she is the last Metroid and has her Metroid suit. And maybe it's one of those things where you can like switch between two playable characters. I don't know. I think that'd be cool. I think it'd be cool to like take the I think that you can revisit the Galactic Federation subplot there. I think that the Galactic Federation now, maybe knowing that Samus is a Metroid, can fully turn against her. They clearly weren't fully turned against her before, but I think that maybe now they could. And I think that clearly, though, in Metroid 6, you want to be exploring those Metroid abilities with the suit. I would be disappointed if that was not the case. But yeah, that would be my elevator pitch is like, Samus's Metroid abilities are, they are there and she's using them, and you're maybe a new Galactic Federation trooper or bounty hunter or whatever have you is tasked with hunting her down, and maybe they get together and maybe they break into some Federation stronghold. I don't know, something like that, but I think that'd be cool.
I wonder if I was on that episode because I remember talking about this.
You might have been, yeah.
But yeah, so basically my interpretation of that was like, because I think that would actually be a really interesting way to implement co-op into the Metroid series with like the two playable characters. And I always kind of, because with that idea, I kind of imagine it with like the Link to the Past Super Metroid ROM hack, where one player will be unlocking various stuff in one game, but they'll be unlocking stuff for the other that like maybe the person playing as Link unlocks the bombs for Samus in Super Metroid. And that's kind of how I imagined, that co-op experience kind of working in that 2D Metroid, where, one character will be, carving out new paths or unlocking stuff for Samus, and then Samus will doing vice versa for the other character. Mm-hmm. And I think it would be a very difficult game to build, but I think there's a lot of potential there.
It would be tough, yeah. Like it definitely would be tough. I mean, here's the other option, right? Like after Super Metroid was kind of a bookend for everything that happened in the series beforehand. And then in Metroid Fusion, they just completely created this new, this new species of villain of X and whatnot. So I could also see Metroid 6 just going that route, where it's like just something completely fresh, something completely new.
I think Metroid 6 will be something completely original and new. I'm not counting on the Federation at this point. Maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised, but I'm putting that to bed until Nintendo says otherwise.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be disappointed, to be honest, if they just did that. I wasn't as hung up on that Galactic Federation subplot as maybe some were. I think Other M was supposed to be the blow-off for that. I really do, and they just maybe... they didn't do it. They didn't stick the landing, so to speak. But yeah, like I would. I don't know. I would be okay if we moved on from it. It would be a little bit disappointing because it is like it is a plot thread that's just going to be left unresolved. I would be far more disappointed if the Metroid suit was just one and done though. That I think would be tough.
Well, I mean, the Metroid suit's already gone by the end of Dread. I have a feeling, though, even if we don't see the Metroid suit itself, we are still going to see those Metroid powers at play.
Yeah, and let me clarify. Like, it doesn't have to be that specific suit, but, like, Metroid powers, I think that Metroid 6 could use a whole slew of cool new Metroid upgrades that are maybe different from what we've seen. I would love to know how like the Metroid DNA can influence some of those upgrades. Like imagine your grapple beam with Metroid powers, right? Like that's just on a whole other level.
I mean, we kind of got that in Prime 3 to a degree.
I mean,
the grapple voltage.
Yeah, kind of. I think there's a lot of room there to do like cool things. So yeah, we'll see. But I don't think it'd be the worst idea to pick up that Galactic Federation subplot and frankly introduce a new character to the Metroid series. I think we're dying for like new characters that are going to be here, going forward. So great question. Let's do another quick one from Raven of the Flock, and then we'll come back to some of their other questions here. If you were to meet Samus in real life, how would you expect that interaction to go? What would you say to Samus if you saw her in real life?
Hey, Samus, you got some pretty cool games.
Yeah. Hey, Samus, big fan. You want to come on the Omega Metroid podcast sometime? Exclusive.
That would be the guest of a lifetime. I'm not sure many other people could compete with that.
I don't know if like I'd get the Zero Laser or if Samus. It depends on which version of Samus you're getting. Like if you're getting kind of the cold, steely version we saw in the manga, or I don't know about that. But if you're getting kind of like nice, caring Samus, that could go okay. All right, let's keep going here. We got a couple from our pal Harkyman, and some really cool questions here. You've been tasked by Nintendo with developing Metroid 99. How would you make it work? So I do want to say we actually did an episode on this, by the way. It's episode I can't remember now, but we did a fan Q&A episode, and somebody did ask us about Metroid 99, and I want to say that we had a pretty cool idea. It was basically like you're playing like NES Nestroid, okay? And you're in Torian, and there's basically just like an endless wave of Metroids coming at you. Whoever can survive the longest, I think that'd be kind of cool. But I don't know. Do you got anything better?
Metroid Prime Pinball 99, baby. That's right. It's 100 tables all battling it out, and then every time you get the hologram that activates something, it activates the mini game for the other tables, so the other tables get all the effects and the hazards and whatnot, and everyone is trying to destroy each other's pinball. Bro, that's how you bring pinball back, baby. It's never gonna happen.
Nor should
but man,
it.
Sounds great.
No,
you stop that.
I'm so sorry. No, I can't co-sign to that. Listen, Metroid Prime Pinball was fine for what it was, but I think it can stay where it is. I feel like that, like, because like the thing with the 99 game is like you have to. I feel like you have to do like some element of like survival where like you can die. I guess what you could do is you could do like mini speed running challenges. Maybe like you could just do Torian in general instead of endless waves of Metroids, like whoever can finish fastest. But even that I feel like isn't as exciting, because I feel like most people would probably be able to finish, and then like every race would be super. Well, I don't know. Maybe if like every race would be super close, that is exciting. But I feel like I like the 99. Like I play F-Zero 99. I like it better when like half the field is wiped out by the end of the race. You know what I mean?
I
don't know.
Yeah, F-Zero 99 out of all those is definitely like my favorite of all the 99 games we've gotten so far. Like they did a really good job with that.
Yeah, it's really fun. We talk about this more in that episode, so search Metroid 99 over on OmegaMetroid.com, and you can hear some thoughts. This next question is a great question, and actually kind of like ties into what we were just talking about with Metroid 6. This is from Harkyman as well. Mario as Luigi, Fox as his crew, Donkey as Diddy. Could Samus work with a sidekick, apprentice, right-hand person? I usually joke about Joey, but I mean New Blood. How could this benefit gameplay or character development? This would have been a far better question to segue with, actually, than the one we just did. I kind of love the idea. Now we have to preface this, right? Because like I think unfortunately when people hear sidekick, they're just kind of like, oh, that's lame. Like when people think about like Batman and Robin, usually I think their first impression is like Robin's kind of lame, even though Robin's like one of the greatest characters, right? Like it's really about how you portray it. So I think like that's kind of why I was like I'd be down to see a new playable character introduced in Metroid 6, because I do think it would be kind of cool if like Samus had someone to kind of play off of a little bit, and I guess Adam is kind of that sort of, but like, do we really want Adam? No, I don't. and it's not quite the same. So I think like again, I'm gonna go back to my Metal Gear Solid reference. Like I think Raiden is like a perfect comparable. He's like clearly not the experienced legend that Solid Snake is, but he's like an up and coming agent with incredible like VR stats, who does rise to the moment and is a different type of hero than Snake. And I think that's kind of the mold that you'd want to go for with like let's call it a companion rather than a sidekick for Samus. That being said, like, I mean, you could absolutely do like a Samus and Joey style game. You just have to change the tone of that game, which I think would be fine actually. But if it were me, yeah, I really would like kind of a, like, for me, I'm just like, okay, who's the next character from Metroid to get into Smash Bros? You know? Like, is it Ravenbeak? Probably, but like, what about a character that's like still around and still relevant and not just tied to one specific game that like we can have as like a staple going forward? So I think that kind of character would be, I don't know, pretty cool.
Yeah, I definitely agree there. Pretty much again ties into our other Metroid 6 question. So but yeah.
Now I can't think of who that would be off the top of my head. Like I don't know, maybe like a young up and coming bounty hunter or something like that kind of makes sense. I hesitate to even say this. What if you did like another like other M style game in the sense that like you're exploring a little bit of like Samus's backstory and her history on, you know, K2L. Maybe she sees another bounty hunter that reminds her of herself or something like that. I mean, clearly you don't want it to be like other M in the sense of like how it's delivered, how it's written, but like a more narrative focused story that shows you a little bit more about Samus, her life beforehand. That could also make sense for why Samus would take a sidekick, for lack of a better term. I don't know. That could be cool. You know what I really wish, actually? I really wish that the baby Metroid had just lived. Because that's the ultimate sidekick.
That is very true. That is very true.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, if the baby Metroid didn't live, then Samus wouldn't be the ultimate warrior that she is today.
It's true. It's very true. Okay, let's go over to, oh boy, how do we say this? Ricadius, I think I got it. All right, Ricadius asks, what ignored faction or race would you like to see come back in the future? For me, it's the Kryken Empire. Hunters isn't the best game, but it has some awesome characters. It's a real shame that they only ever follow up on with Silex, which, while cool, is ostensibly just a dude. Well, you actually don't know that. His pronouns are they, them, actually, so he could be anybody.
Mm-hmm.
What ignored faction or race would you like to see come back in the future? I feel like I don't know if it's like the exact answer to the question here, but I kind of feel like I'd like to know more about the Galactic Federation themselves. Like you really just have like the name, and you have like a couple of people that you ever see. Like, I mean, you see Galactic Federation soldiers, but like I want to see like the, you know, like I want to see like the episode 1 Phantom Menace, like the council with all those guys, you know, like the Mace Windu with Yoda. Like, where are those guys at? Like, who's running the Galactic Federation? What planet do they live on? Do they have flying cars? Probably. That's kind of what I want to see.
I was thinking the exact same thing. I was thinking the exact same thing when you said like the internal politics of the Galactic. I was just like prequels, baby, let's go.
You know, people dump on the blockade and the politics of the prequels, but man, that stuff is so good. The prequels are my favorite Star Wars movies. I cannot tell a lie.
Well, I feel like nowadays, like, people have really warmed up on the prequels. Like, obviously, when they came out, they were, like, you know, very much, you know, the target of the... I don't know.
It's because we were kids when they came out. Now we're grown up and we're writing the history book, so to speak. But nothing wrong with that.
So, yeah, we kind of get a small glimpse of that in the Samus Returns flashback. We get that one scene of, like, the bearded guy... Yeah, like holding his arms up, doing the praise the sun emote.
I have to say, actually, I used that for the feature image before we actually pivoted away for a different episode, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
So yeah, so we do have like a small snippet of that, but I agree. I would love to see, like, you know, a lot of the internal workings of the Federation, you know, that isn't directly tied to their military.
It's just like there's so much there that we don't know. I really think that you could improve the story of Metroid Fusion retroactively and Other M retroactively if we were to learn more about the Galactic Federation. I've always thought that the Atom as an AI thing was hokey, but like maybe that's just like a big program that they have where like they you know what I mean? Like maybe that's just something that we could learn about and is natural and like it makes it less lame in the game what happens. Maybe we could learn like who General Volgan was, who just strolled in at the end of Other M with his big cigar and like he looked like he was right out of like 1960s Russia. Like who is this guy, right? Like I want to know about those people and the machinations of this vitally important organization that really dictates everything that we do in the Metroid series that we know so little about. So that would be my answer. Kraken Empire would be cool though. I'm not opposed to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. To answer the real question, I'll just say for our Discord boy Spire, I'll say bring back the Diamonds. I know that would make him really happy.
Oh, okay, we're 0 for 2. No pinball, no diamond. You know what? Whatever. Bring back a Diamond. I think that's fine. Maybe just one. I don't need more than one. All right, let's do one more on Blue Sky. We'll come back to these after in a little bit if we have more time. This is from Venom Spino. One question we always had was, does Ridley's species actually metamorphize like in Other M, or was that the result of the cloning process? Theories, Doom. What do you think?
Kind of assume that's just how the species metamorphosized. It could be something specific to the cloning process. They don't really give any hints to that one way or other. Mm-hmm. So I just kind of assume that just happens naturally.
The beautiful thing about Ridley is like there's the mystique of like what is, you know what he reminds me of actually, in the early 2000s, nobody had ever told Wolverine's like from the X-Men's origin, and when they did that story, it was like this huge big deal because it was like this mystique and this like it felt like a story that you weren't allowed to tell. And I feel like Ridley kind of has that same thing. I would love to know the origins of Ridley in an official capacity. Something tells me that this was just as a result of the cloning process. I don't know what, and it's very possible not. But something tells me that, because let me see if I get this right. So this was a built from the ground up clone of Ridley based on the remains of his Super Metroid corpse, which we later find in Metroid Fusion, right? Do I have that right?
Yeah, so basically all of the creatures and bugs that Samus splattered get splattered on her suit, and they extract the DNA from her suit. It's not a great plot point, but that's the official explanation in the game.
It's not like the most ludicrous thing I've ever heard, but it's
not the most ludicrous thing in Other M, to be fair. It gets way more off the walls.
That's true. I don't know. Like I don't actually hate the idea of Ridley evolving that much, mostly just because it kind of reminds me of like the xenomorphs from Alien. But I feel like you already have like a cooler version of that with just like regular Metroids who evolve from, Alpha to Gamma. Like I don't know that we need that for Ridley as well. Something tells me that we just have no idea what Ridley comes from, or like how it's made, or if there's more. I would love to know. Like I would love for more Ridley characters. If Ridley's truly dead, I would love to have like a replacement Ridley, as much as people might hate that.
You do risk the we have Ridley at home. You do risk that. So I feel like you'd have to find some way to make this Ridley like be able to stand on its own. I don't think you'd want to specifically just try to emulate and evoke the feelings, because I mean, if you want to do that, just clone him again. You can find some excuse to clone again if you really want to bring back Ridley. But if you want to bring back a different species of Ridley, I feel like you'd have to make that stand as its own character.
One of my early thoughts actually for Metroid 6, speaking of, was maybe there could be like a small band of space pirates left. We're talking like the remnants, right? Or maybe it's just a new group that's formed. I don't know, whatever. One of my thoughts was like maybe that they could find this like huge weapon that the Galactic Federation needs us to check out, and the weapon is actually they go to the home planet that Ridley is from, and the weapon is actually like baby Ridley's or so, I don't know, something like that, where it's like a new basically like a new Ridley that they found, like a small creature that would evolve into Ridley. That could be cool too. Maybe you could learn more about the origins of his planet or species. I don't know, but I think that's worth exploring. I think that could be cool.
I'm down for it.
Yeah, so great question. Let's go over to Discord here, because I don't want to miss anybody's questions either. And let's start off with our pal. Let's start off with our pal Cap. Q&A episode, you say. Time for another round of weird spin-off choice. Let's see. A lighthearted and comical Samus and Joey RPG, much in the style of the Mario and Luigi games, or a high-budget, gritty, cinematic first-person shooter, much like a Call of Duty campaign, where you're Galactic Federation grunt in the middle of a war. Or how about a third-person stealth action game where you play as Thoha Chozo, struggling to survive the Mockin slaughter on SR388? Let's rank these in terms of which ones we want to do.
The Galactic Federation, by far my number one. That's basically what I pitched for how to fix Federation Force. That sounds awesome. Absolutely. Inject that into my veins right now.
Okay, so Call of Duty Galactic Federation is number one for you. What's your second choice of those?
Yeah. Probably the Thoha game, and then followed by the kind of comical, lighthearted adventure. I like reading those in Samus and Joey, but I don't know how much fun I'd have with that in like a video game form, and like an actual Metroid game.
Okay. I'm actually gonna go the reverse of you. So I'm gonna place Samus and Joey RPG first, just because I would love to see a Metroid RPG. I don't think it has to be exactly like super goofy, as the Mario and Luigi games are, because I mean we do see in the Samus and Joey manga like stuff can get pretty heavy sometimes, and you know what? Just like we were talking about the Galactic Federation too, like that's a really good showcase for like world building and stuff in those mangas as well, which is something that I want. So I think that could be kind of cool. I do like the idea of a stealth game with the Thoha Chozo. I think that would be kind of cool. I feel like the only problem there is that I don't know, like who are you playing as? Do we care about this person knowing that they don't make it? Maybe you do, but maybe you don't. And I think like the high budget, gritty, cinematic first person shooter is probably last on my list, just because like I feel like that's kind of close to Metroid Prime anyways, and I don't really know if I'm dying for like another first person shooter spin-off. If I want a spin-off, I just want it to be like something else.
Gotcha. That makes sense. When I was thinking of COD specifically, the first thing that came to my mind was Infinite Warfare, which actually does take place in space, and low-key I think it's one of the best COD campaigns. Not my personal favorite, but it's like I think easily in the top 5. It's so well done, and a lot of people did not like it when it came out, but like the past couple of years people are starting to warm up to it now, which I'm really happy about.
I mean, I've never played like any Call of Duty like ever, so it's just not really my thing. I don't know. Maybe it could be. Maybe I'm shortchanging it. But yeah, for me, it's just kind of like I don't know. I'm just not interested in another first person shooter like spinoff, because it's like we've had Hunters, we've had Federation Force. Both of those didn't necessarily, scratch that Metroid itch for me. Let's do something else. So that's my answer, and I think there's opportunity there, and again, that kind of ties back to like, would you like to see Samus have like a little sidekick or something like that? Why not? Okay, so let's go to Metroida. How about a missions mode completely separate from the main story, where you do random bounty jobs for the Federation? They could be small contained areas with totally unique things to make each one interesting, and playing with the time concept, maybe previous missions with previous suits' powers as well. That's sweet. I like that. That's a side game that I could get into.
Revisiting COD again, this pretty much reminds me of Spec Ops mode, just from that description, where it's basically these, apart from the campaign, there are these single player or co-op adjacent challenges that you can engage in. They're very self-contained areas, and you get rated on, how well you do the challenge, whether it's how many points you do or how fast you complete it, which how fast you complete it, I mean, that's right in the Metroid DNA right there. I feel like this is a no-brainer, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds like a pretty sweet idea to me. Like we were talking earlier, I'd love to implement bounty hunting. I'd love to implement like further like side quests and side content. I feel like that's a great way to do it. So we should get on that. All right, this next one is from Lolo Zozo. By the way, shout out to Lolo Zolo. They are helping me with some Omega Metroid stuff, and their help has been much appreciated and very invaluable. So thank you, and thank you a ton for that, Lorenzo. What are your biggest hopes and biggest fears for Metroid series going in 2025? Check back not next week, next week, and we'll have an answer for you for that. Is there a board game you'd like to see an official Metroid branded version of?
Ooh.
I'm not like the biggest board game like aficionado. Like I know them when I like them, but I'd have a hard time like picking out like what my favorites are.
I mean, I would definitely collect it for sure, but I mean, I will literally buy anything with the word Metroid written on it, so that's not saying much. I know it's kind of the basic answer, but like, there's a ton of Monopoly deals. I think a Metroid Monopoly would be pretty cool. We kind of got that. There's a general Nintendo Monopoly, and Samus does take up one of the spaces. I can't remember which one it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she does make a little cameo on the Nintendo Monopoly. It's not really a board game, but I think Metroid Uno would also be really fun. I actually do really love Uno, so I'd be totally down for that.
Yeah, like I feel like Ticket to Ride is really fun. You could get Metroid involved in that somehow. I'm not really big into like Catan, but I feel like that would be pretty, like I bet you a lot of people would love that. This is like, again, I feel kind of bad because I'm not like the biggest board game kind of guy. My brother-in-law, I wish he was here because my cousin, he would have like options and options. I don't know if I'd want Monopoly because I feel like that's just kind of like what everybody what would be awesome? Metroid themed Guess Who. That would go hard. That would go hard.
Andy, I'm so dumb. The obvious choice is Battleship. It's right there. Metroid Battleship. It's perfect.
Duh. Yeah. Make it. License it. Get it done. Yeah, that's it would be really cool, actually. I don't think we've ever played this together, Doom. There's a game called Coup that's famous in the Zelda Dungeon world, where there's... I think you could adapt that to Metroid pretty easily. To be frank, you could adapt it to anything pretty easily, but that would be really fun. If anybody doesn't know what Coup is, you should look it up. You can actually play it online without the cards. It's pretty fun. Maybe we'll have to do that on our year-end.
Coup or Clue?
Coup. As in,
Coup,
it's spelled
okay.
out Coop, like C-U...
Gotcha.
C-O-U-P. Yeah. Clue would be kind of fun, though. I could be down with that. Who killed Samus in the Brinstar basement? I don't know. That'd be kind of cool. All right. Let's keep these questions going here. A couple more from Lolo, and then one more from Cap, and then I think that might be it. Metroid Prime 2 uses a dark world light world split that's reminiscent of the corresponding trope from the Zelda series. Is there some other tradition or gimmick typical to another series game that you would like to see implemented in a Metroid game? Some examples: the gravity shenanigans of Mario Galaxy, having to draw the map yourself like in Etrian Odyssey, or the recover your stuff after you die mechanic in Souls games and Hollow Knight, etc., etc. There's a few other examples there. Here's one. I wouldn't mind. Now, this would depend on the type of game that you're playing, the type of Metroid game, because this only works if there's other characters. But I mean, I really love like Mass Effect or just BioWare games in general. Like, you have your different dialogue options, which kind of alter the course of the game or alter your relationship with people going forward. I've always really enjoyed that, and I would love for that to creep its way into Metroid. The only challenge there is that you don't have a lot of other characters that you're interacting with, but maybe depending on the type of game that you make, that could make its way in. I will say I never, ever, ever want to see anything Souls-like in a Metroid game. Like, if you die, I just want to restart at the last save point with all my stuff. I hate having to go get your stuff after you die. I hate it.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I don't really know how that would, especially with what's been established in Metroid. I don't even know how you would do that to begin with.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely. I don't mind. I wouldn't mind other Souls elements that I've seen, but I think one thing that I actually wouldn't mind is so in Dark Souls, when you save at the bonfire, that's what respawns the enemies, and a lot of other Souls like do the same things too. I wouldn't mind a Metroid game where it's like you save every time you save at the save station is how the enemies respawn, rather than just them respawning like after you're 2 rooms away. I think that would be an interesting mechanic to implement, but I definitely agree. I'm not a fan of like, recollecting the spot where I last died.
Mm-hmm.
The Mario Galaxy mechanics were mentioned. I am a huge Mario Galaxy fan, second favorite game of all time. So I think there's a ton of potential there for Metroid. I've been a very huge advocate for zero G combat and exploration specifically. That isn't something we've really seen in Metroid, despite the fact that like we see Samus spacewalking in quite a few games now. So I think that's something that I would really love to explore. I think there's a lot of unique potential there.
One thing I don't even know how to bring this up, because like you kind of have it but you kind of don't, that I would love to see in Metroid, specifically borrow from Castlevania, and specifically the Sorrow games, is there's kind of towards the later portion of the game, but like there's an ability soul that you can get that allows you to like really move quickly, which I know is fairly similar to the speed booster, but like it basically you just hold down the button and you instantly start moving super fast, and you can use it in the air as well. I think just like improving, like making movement faster in Metroid is always good, so like that would be really cool. I would love, you know what, here's something that I think would be really cool to take from Metal Gear Solid. If Adam is going to be around in the future, I think it'd be cool to like have like a codec or something like that you can call, and like you could talk to Adam, or like maybe, like imagine a Metroid Dread if you had a codec and you could call Quiet Robe and talk to him throughout the course of the game, and like just get, I don't know, updates or like lore about what happened in the attack on SR388, or I don't know, whatever, right? Like, or imagine like you had your Kodak, you could talk to Umos or whoever. Like I think like having a little bit more communication with characters would be pretty cool. So like a Kodak thing like that I think would be kind of neat.
Maybe. I'm definitely not opposed to more communication. I don't know if it's something that I would want to have like available to me at all times. Like, oh, I want to talk to Quiet Robe, I'm going to do that right now. I'm not sure if I'd be in favor of that, but I definitely wouldn't be opposed to like Samus linking radios with like the other person, and then being it, and then having that dialogue communicate at various points, rather than Samus being forced to go to like a data upload station to enact a cutscene that does all that stuff. I wouldn't be opposed to have that stuff just naturally occur during gameplay.
I don't think I'd like that. I think I want it to like, either you have the option to call them whenever you want, or maybe you could just replace the Adam rooms in Metroid Dread with like, you could call Adam, you could call Quiet Robe, you could call him, like whoever's on your adventure that you can call. I think that's the way that I would probably go with that, but I don't know. I just think that would be like a cool thing to build characters, to build the world, and just to, if you're stuck, maybe it's a cool thing to like have a little break and take a decompress. And there's probably going to be like specific, like kind of like Metal Gear has, where like you could get specific hints if you are stuck, or like you can get just work information or whatever. Like I just think that like really adds to the world of Metal Gear Solid for me, and I would like to see that, because like what do we really know about ZDR? Not a lot, right? I think that'd be cool.
I think as a hit system that would actually be pretty effective now that you bring that up. So yeah, I'm not opposed to that.
All right, last question from Lolo Zozo here. Let me hear your pitch for a silly animated Metroid themed Christmas special. Well, Doom, you've got the shirt on.
I don't know, but it definitely involves Chadmiral Dane. I'm not just gonna have a Christmas special and not include my man. So obviously he's going to be a part of it. Samus and Chadmiral Dane save Christmas. The space pirates are up to no good. They're new. They've discovered a new weapon on an alien planet. That will siphon all of the toys that the children throughout the Galactic Federation receive, and it's up to Samus and the Chadmiral to put an end to this and make things right. Along the way, Samus will encounter some friendly Galactic Federation elves. I don't know. I'm spitballing this at the moment on the spot as we go.
So,
and it's claymation. It's got to be claymation.
Okay, I could be down with that. The space pirates capture Santa Claus. Okay, so Santa's being held hostage.
Love it.
And we've got evil Frosty, the snowman as a boss. We've got mutated Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer as a boss. We've got we're on a mission to save Santa and get those presents to the Galactic Federation. I would go see that in theaters, by God.
Oh, that day one. That's I would have said midnight release, but unfortunately, that isn't really a thing anymore with the movies. Now it's the early Thursday showings now. I do miss those midnight releases. Those were fun times.
I think the last true movie that I saw at midnight was The Hobbit, the first one. I want to say.
I can't even remember what the last midnight movie was for me. It's been so long now.
It's been a long time. By the way, I saw the new Lord of the Rings, War of the Rohirrim. Whips.
I heard that's really good.
I almost just swore. It rocks. It's so good. I'm gonna go see that again. Okay, let's do two super quick ones here. Doom from Harkyman, then we'll get out of here. Number one, has any section of a mainline 2D or 3D Metroid made you almost rage quit? I'll answer that in a second, but all I can think of is that I don't know what that loser's name was, but the guy was freaking out over that room in Metroid Dread, where he's like, "It's not good gameplay because you can't see the blocks that you can shoot at the top." What's his name again? It doesn't even matter. Who cares?
Why can I not remember his name? Oh, it's
Jaffe.
Yeah, David Jaffe. The Jaffe room.
Loser.
Oh, that's so good. That's so good. I don't know. I've never really rage quit during. Probably the closest I've come to rage quitting was the first time playing Prime 2. That as a small child, that was definitely a Herculean challenge for little me at the time. But I never got to the point where I was raging over it. I don't think. I was pretty enraged and wanted to quit playing Federation Force my first time, but I mean, that's little different.
The closest thing that I can think of. There's that one level in Federation Force where you got to shoot the balls on the ship, to get them in the catapult to shoot the space pirate ship behind you. I remember being pretty PO'd playing that level because I was like, these things do not just want to go into the stupid holder. I gotta say, I feel like that's about the closest that I've got to rage quitting. I was pretty irked playing the second phase of the Goria fight because I was like, oh my god, where is this stupid thing? I just want to fight it and be over it. And this thing was shooting those stupid comets at you and then transporting to another spot, and I was like, ugh. You know what? Actually, I could probably again, not a rage quit, but fighting the, I think it was the fourth tower, the spinny tower, the set you fed in Hunters was pretty rough. I think that's about it though. I was never gonna rage quit. I was just like, man, this sucks. That's Other than that, I think Metroid's been pretty good to us.
Yeah.
Not a lot of rage quit level. The only game I can really specifically remember rage quitting is Mario Party 2 on the N64. We had one turn left. Okay, we had one turn left. Last turn, I was ahead by 3 stars. It's my turn, so I'm on the board. I land on a spot, and it's like, oh, you lose a star. And I was like, ugh. I land on, the second player goes, and it's like, oh, you gain a star. So now this guy, I'm only 1 ahead of now, because I've lost one and he's gained 1. The third player goes on a step, and it's one of those stupid ones where it's a star swap star, and my star went to them, and I was like, what? and the mini game just ended like right away, and I lost. I was like, I think I like took it up and I just like chucked it up against the wall. I was like 12, by the way, and I returned it to Blockbuster. I don't even know if it worked. Okay,
That is what I live for in Mario. But see, the thing is, the key with Mario Party, at least for me, I don't play Mario Party to win. I play to cause chaos. And if I happen to win, that's just a nice little bonus. But I'm just there. I'm just I am a living chance time. That's what I am. Which a lot of Mario Party players just got a lot of PTSD, I assume, hearing that.
Yeah. Well, hey, I don't know what that means, but that sounds bad. Okay, last
It's
one
very
from
bad.
Here. I'm only gonna pick the first one, and then we'll save the next one maybe for a future episode. Will Zero Suit Samus sections ever make a return?
Probably, I would assume so.
I think I would assume so. I don't know if sections. I still think that it's not like out of the realm of possibility that you could see like a Zero Suit Samus game. Maybe that's what they could do for Metroid 6, to be honest. Maybe it's just like a complete hybrid of like Zero Suit Samus and Metroid, like the Metroid suit. I don't think that's a great fit for Metroid 6, to be honest, but like yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't need Zero Suit sections to come back. I think like as a fun little surprise in Zero Mission, that was like a pretty cool one-off for me. I'm not opposed to it though, and I certainly don't think it's impossible. I think again, sometime eventually we'll probably see it again in a gameplay section.
Yeah, you know what? I kind of feel like I'd rather just like have either a Zero Suit Samus game, or like we were talking about earlier, like if they are gonna upload some missions and stuff like that, some bounties, maybe one of them is like a stealth bounty or something like that, which kind of sounds like Federation Force levels now that I'm saying it, but like you could do it cool and good. So yeah, I think that would be pretty sweet. I'd be fine with that. All right. Well, that's it. That is going to get us to the end of our Q&A. So thank you everybody who asked us a question. Love doing these episodes. They're fun. They're breezy. And we don't have to do a lot of work for them. So thank you so much for helping us out with this last episode of 2024. We are, like I said, we're taking next week off. We're going to enjoy the holidays, and then we'll be recording before the year's end. But the first episode, our next episode is going to be on the 1st of 2025. So that's going to be really cool. We're going to be looking back to 2024. We're going to be talking about 2025, the year ahead for Metroid. Maybe one of the biggest years for the series ever. So we'll definitely have a lot to say about what we hope, what we expect, what our thoughts are, all of that kind of stuff. So and just wanted to thank everybody for another great year of support for the podcast, for the website, for everything. We saw our best numbers by far for everything I just mentioned this year, so that was really cool. We've added in some great new team members this year who have just helped out so tremendously. And just really looking forward to what we got coming up ahead too, because we got some cool stuff planned for 2025. So thank you to everybody for for hanging with Omega in 2024.
Yeah, couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, then it's time. Let's get out of here, Doom. And of course, we're gonna plug a few things. Number one, check us out wherever you get your podcast. Go like, subscribe, recommend. We're all that kind of stuff. Hey, you got a Metroid fan in your life, tell them where they can get their weekly Metroid fix. We are a weekly Metroid podcast coming out every Wednesday, so spread the word, my friends, and check out OmegaMetroid.com. We have maps, we have guides, we have news, we have so much stuff there that if you're a Metroid fan, you are going to have a complete treasure trove of stuff for you to check out. So hit us up over at OmegaMetroid.com and check out the YouTube page as well. Do just subscribe, because we've got some cool stuff coming there in the future. And hey, if you ever do want to see our lovely faces as we're doing these podcasts, full episodes are available over on our YouTube channel as well. Give us a follow over on Blue Sky at Omega Metroid, at Spiteri316, at Doominal Cross. And my friends, everybody have a Merry Christmas, a Happy Holidays, and a wonderful New Year. We will see you back here in 2025. So until then, take care.